The scalpel clattered to the floor. Blood pooled faster than hands could move. San Diego Metropolitan Hospital Trauma Bay, 3:47 a.m., March 15th, 2024. 23-year-old Riley Morgan stood frozen as Dr. Marcus Brennan shoved her aside. "Get out of my way, nurse. You're just making it worse." The patient's monitor screamed, flatline approaching. Riley's hands trembled not from fear, but from restraint. 3 years ago, those same hands had performed field amputations under Taliban fire. But no one here knew that. No one knew Hospital Corpsman second-class Riley Morgan had earned the Navy Cross at age 20. No one knew the quiet night nurse was the angel of death. Before we begin, please subscribe and follow this story to the end. Comment below with your city so I can see how far this story travels. Now let's begin. Riley's fingers gripped the edge of the supply cart, white-knuckled. Silent, she watched Dr. Brennan fumble with the chest tube insertion, his hands shaking despite 20 years of experience. The patient, a 58-year-old construction worker named Miguel Santos, had taken a steel beam to the torso. Pneumothorax, hemothorax, internal bleeding, standard trauma. Nothing Riley hadn't seen 100 times before, but here she was, invisible. "Suction. Now!" Brennan snapped his fingers without looking up. Riley moved fast, positioning the suction catheter. Her movements were efficient, practiced the kind of muscle memory that came from working in places where hesitation meant death. "Not there, you idiot. Here." Brennan grabbed the catheter from her hand, redirecting it with unnecessary force. The other nurses exchanged glances. Sympathetic, embarrassed for her, but none of them spoke up. Dr. Marcus Brennan was a legend at San Diego Metro. Chief of Trauma Surgery, published researcher, hospital board member. "You didn't challenge Marcus Brennan." Riley said nothing, just stepped back, faded into the background like she'd learned to do over the past 3 years. The monitor's alarm escalated. Miguel's oxygen saturation dropped. 78%, 75, 72. "Damn it," Brennan's voice cracked. "Where's the bleeding coming from?" Riley knew. She could see it in the ultrasound image on the screen, in the pattern of Miguel's labored breathing, in the specific way his chest wasn't expanding. Splenic rupture. Grade 4, maybe 5. He needed surgery now, not a chest tube. "Dr. Brennan." Riley's voice came out steady quiet. You think Brennan didn't even turn around. "You're a nurse, Morgan. You don't think. You follow orders. Now get me another liter of saline." Riley's jaw tightened. In Kabul, she'd commanded respect from SEAL team operators twice her age. In Kandahar, she'd made life-or-death decisions while bullets snapped overhead. Here, she couldn't even finish a sentence. She retrieved the saline, hung the bag, checked the IV line, all while Miguel's pressure continued dropping. The trauma bay doors burst open. 2 security guards rushed in, supporting a man between them. Blood soaked through his civilian clothes, gunshot wounds, multiple entry points. The man's face was pale lips, blue consciousness fading. "Trauma 2 is full," one of the guards shouted. "We need help now." Brennan looked up, saw the patient, and his face went white. Not from the blood, from recognition. Riley saw it too. The man's build, the way he held his wounded arm despite shock setting in. The tattoo visible through his torn sleeve. SEAL Trident. The guards weren't guards. They were operators in civilian clothes. And the wounded man was Lieutenant Commander James Sullivan. Call sign Hawk. Riley's heart stopped. She'd served with Hawk in Afghanistan. He'd been her team leader during the Kabul evacuation. He'd been there when Master Chief Daniel Reeves died. He'd been there when Riley earned her Navy Cross. Their eyes met across the trauma bay. Hawk's lips moved. One word, barely a whisper. "Angel." The room temperature dropped, or maybe that was just Riley's blood going cold. 3 years. 3 years of hiding, of running, of pretending to be someone she wasn't. And now, it was over. "Do you know this patient?" Brennan's voice cut through her shock. Riley forced her face blank. "No." "Then why is he looking at you like that?" "I don't know, doctor." Hawk's hand reached out, trembling. "Angel, they said you died. Kabul. One of the operators, a man Riley recognized as Chief Petty Officer Marcus Bull Patterson, stepped forward. His eyes moved between Hawk and Riley, calculating, assessing. Bull had been Master Chief Reeves's closest friend. He knew exactly who Riley was. "Sir," Bull's voice carried authority that made even Brennan straighten. "We need immediate medical attention. Lieutenant Commander Sullivan has been shot 3 times. Once in the shoulder, twice in the abdomen. Wounds are approximately 2 hours old." "Shot?" Brennan blinked. "This is a hospital, not a military facility. We need to call the police." "No police." Bull's tone left no room for argument. "This is a classified military matter. You treat him. You keep your mouth shut. That's the deal." Riley moved without thinking. Her training overrode her fear. She was at Hawk's side in 3 steps, her hands already assessing his wounds. The shoulder injury was through and through. Clean. The abdominal wounds were worse. Entry points suggested 9mm rounds. No exit wounds visible from the front. "Hawk," she whispered. "Where's the pain worst?" "Lower right quadrant. Feels like fire." "Liver, possibly kidney." She palpated gently. His abdomen was rigid. Defensive guarding. Internal bleeding confirmed. "He needs surgery now," Riley said. "Not in 10 minutes. Now." Brennan finally abandoned Miguel's chest tube, moving toward Hawk. "I'll determine what he needs, Nurse Morgan. Step aside." Riley didn't move. "Doctor, with respect, this patient has—" "I said step aside." Brennan physically pushed her backward. Riley stumbled. Her shoulder hit the wall. The impact triggered something deep in her mind. Muscle memory. Combat reflexes. Her hand went automatically to her hip, reaching for a sidearm that wasn't there. Bull saw it. His eyes widened fractionally. Hawk saw it too. Even through his pain, he managed a weak smile. "Still got the instincts, Angel." "Shut up, Hawk," Riley hissed. "Angel." Brennan looked between them. "What is he talking about?" Before anyone could answer, Hawk's monitor alarmed, blood pressure crashing, 70/40, 60/30. His eyes rolled back. "He's coding!" one of the nurses shouted. Brennan froze. For a man with 20 years of experience, he looked utterly lost. His hands hovered over Hawk's chest, uncertain where to start. Riley knew where. She'd done this exact procedure 17 times in Afghanistan. She pushed past Brennan, past protocol, past 3 years of hiding. "Get me the thoracotomy kit, now." "You can't," Brennan started. "He has cardiac tamponade." Riley's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. "His chest cavity is filling with blood. If we don't drain it in the next 60 seconds, he dies. So either help me or get out of my way." The authority in her voice made everyone freeze. This wasn't the quiet night nurse anymore. This was someone else entirely. Bull handed her the kit. "Do it, Angel." Riley's hands moved with practiced precision. Betadine swab. Local anesthetic, not that it mattered now. Scalpel. Incision between the ribs. Her fingers found the pericardium by feel. Puncture. Release. Dark blood poured out. Hawk gasped. His monitor stabilized. Pressure rising. 60/40. 70/50. 80/60. The trauma bay went silent. Riley stood there, bloody gloves, steady hands meeting Brennan's shocked stare with cold professional distance. "Now he needs surgery," she said quietly, "unless you'd like to keep standing there looking confused." Brennan's face flushed red. Anger. Humiliation. He opened his mouth to respond, but Bull stepped forward. "Perhaps," Bull said carefully, "we should focus on saving the lieutenant commander's life. Questions can wait." Brennan grabbed Riley's arm. "My office. After this. You're suspended." Riley pulled free. "Fine. After we save his life." They wheeled Hawk toward the operating room. Riley followed, ignoring Brennan's protests. In the elevator alone with Bull and Hawk's gurney, she finally let herself breathe. 3 years, Bull said. 3 years and not a word. "I left for a reason. Reeves' death wasn't your fault. Tell that to my nightmares." Hawk's hand found hers, weak, trembling. Angel, need to tell you, it wasn't random. They're coming. Who's coming? Cross, Victor Cross. He knows about the evidence. Knows I'm here. Riley's blood went cold. She knew that name. Everyone in the special operations community knew that name. Victor Cross ran the largest private military contractor in the world. Billions in government contracts. Connections everywhere. What evidence, Hawk? Faulty equipment. He's been supplying bad gear to SEAL teams, making money on both ends. Selling us garbage, then selling intel to our enemies. It's why Reeves died, Angel. It's why half our team didn't make it out of Kabul. Riley's vision blurred red. Master Chief Daniel Reeves had died because his plate carrier failed. A round that should have been stopped by body armor had punched through like paper. She'd watched him bleed out in her arms, promising him she'd keep fighting. And now she knew why. Where's the evidence? Encrypted drive in my jacket pocket. Copies sent to trusted people. But Cross has reach. He'll come for me. And anyone who helps me. The elevator doors opened. The surgical floor. Brennan was waiting along with 3 other surgeons, and 4 men Riley didn't recognize. Men in suits. Men with the hard eyes of operators gone corporate. Bull's hand moved to his concealed weapon. We've got a problem. The lead suit smiled. Professional. Cold. Lieutenant Commander Sullivan needs to come with us. Federal matter. Federal? Bull's voice carried clear disbelief. Show me credentials. The man reached into his jacket. But Riley saw it. The tell. The way his shoulder dropped. The angle of his draw. Not reaching for a badge. Reaching for a gun. Bull down! Riley tackled Hawk's gurney, tipping it sideways as gunfire erupted. The surgical floor transformed into chaos. Screams, running feet, doctors diving for cover. Bull returned fire, 2 controlled shots that dropped the lead gunman. The other 3 scattered, using civilians as shields. Riley grabbed the encrypted drive from Hawk's jacket, shoved it into her scrub's pocket, then pressed her hands against his fresh surgical wounds. Stay with me, Hawk. Stay with me. Just like Kabul. He coughed. You, always throwing yourself in front of bullets. Shut up and keep breathing. Brennan crawled over, eyes wide with terror. What the hell is happening? Those aren't feds, Riley said. They're private contractors, and they're here to kill my patient. Your patient, you're suspended. Dr. Brennan. Riley's voice went flat. Ice cold. The voice she'd used in Afghanistan when giving orders to SEAL operators. I need you to understand something very clearly. These men will kill everyone on this floor to get to Lieutenant Commander Sullivan. So you have 2 choices. Help me save these people or hide in your office and explain to their families why you did nothing. Brennan stared at her. In that moment, something shifted. He saw past the quiet nurse to the warrior underneath. What do you need? Trauma kit, tactical stretcher, and someone to hold an IV bag while I move him. You can't move him. He needs surgery. He needs to not get shot in the head. Surgery comes second. More gunfire. Bull was pinned down behind a nurse's station trading shots with 2 contractors. The third was flanking, moving through patient rooms. Riley made a decision. The kind of decision she'd made 100 times in combat. The kind that separated leaders from followers. She stood up, pushed Hawk's gurney toward the stairwell. Every step exposed. Every step a target. But she didn't run. Didn't rush. Moved with deliberate calm because panic would get people killed. Nurse Morgan. A young resident 26, fresh out of medical school, pressed against the wall in terror. They're shooting at us. Then stay low and follow me. We're evacuating critical patients to the lower floors. But that's an order, doctor. The resident blinked, then nodded. Because Riley's voice carried command authority that transcended rank or title. It was the voice of someone who'd led people through hell and brought them home alive. They reached the stairwell. Bull provided covering fire, then joined them, reloading his weapon. How many rounds left? Riley asked. 12. I don't have a weapon. Bull looked at her, then at Hawk. then at the encrypted drive visible in her pocket. Understanding dawned. This is about more than one wounded SEAL, isn't it? This is about every SEAL who died because someone put profit over honor. They descended 3 flights. Riley's mind raced. Tactical assessment. Cross's contractors knew Hawk was here, which meant they had inside information. Someone at the hospital was feeding them intel. The question was who, and how many more would die before Riley figured it out. They emerged in the basement level, old storage areas, maintenance tunnels, places civilians didn't go, places perfect for an ambush. Riley stopped, held up her hand. Bull froze. What? Listen. Silence. Too much silence. No footsteps above, no pursuit. Either they'd lost the contractors or... It's a trap, Riley whispered. They're hurting us somewhere. Where? Somewhere isolated. Somewhere they can eliminate us and make it look like an accident. Hawk coughed blood. Angel, leave me. Take the drive. Get it to the authorities. I don't leave people behind. You did once. The words hit like a physical blow. Riley's hand tightened on the gurney. That wasn't by choice. I know. I'm sorry. But Cross, he's too dangerous. Save yourself. Master Chief Reeves told me to keep fighting for those who can't. Riley's voice went hard. You can't fight right now, so I fight for you. Bull checked his weapon. Touching. But we need a plan. Riley's eyes scanned their surroundings. Maintenance tunnels, steam pipes, electrical conduits, industrial equipment. An idea formed. Dangerous. Probably insane. But insane had kept her alive in Afghanistan. Bull, how's your knowledge of hospital infrastructure? Basic. Why? Because we're not running anymore. We're going hunting. Hunting. There's 4 of them, 2 of us, and you're unarmed. Riley smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was the smile that had earned her the nickname Angel of Death in Kandahar. I don't need a weapon to be dangerous. She turned to Brennan, who'd followed them down along with the young resident. Doctor, I need you to do something for me. What? Go back upstairs. Tell them you saw us heading toward the loading dock on the west side. You want me to lie? I want you to give us time. Can you do that? Brennan looked at her, really looked at her, saw the steel underneath, the warrior, the leader. He nodded slowly. What are you going to do? Something I should have done 3 years ago. Stop running. Brennan left. The resident stayed. Young kid maybe saw something in Riley worth following. What's your name? Riley asked. Dr. Sarah Chen. You any good under pressure, Dr. Chen? I don't know. You're about to find out. Riley moved Hawk's gurney deeper into the maintenance tunnels. Bull followed, weapon ready. Dr. Chen stayed close, her hands shaking but her jaw set. They found what Riley was looking for, a junction point where multiple tunnels converged. Good sight lines, multiple exit routes, defensible position. Bull, I need you to set up here, firing position that covers the main tunnel. And you. I'm bait. Like hell you are. They're not after you. They're after Hawk and that drive, so I give them what they want, or appear to. Riley pulled the encrypted drive from her pocket, held it up in the dim light. This is what they're really here for, not Hawk. He's just loose ends. This drive contains evidence that could destroy Cross's empire. So we protect it. No, we use it. Dr. Chen, you're going to take Hawk back the way we came. Find another route to the surgical floor. Get him into an operating room. Alone. You're a doctor. Act like one. Dr. Chen swallowed hard, then nodded, grabbed the gurney, started pushing. Riley turned to Bull. Give me 2 minutes, then start making noise. What kind of noise? The kind that says we're panicking and making mistakes. Bull grinned. I can do that. Riley moved into the shadows. Her hospital scrubs were light blue, easy to spot. She smeared them with grease from a pipe darkening them, grabbed a length of pipe wrench. Not much of a weapon, but enough. Then she waited. Patience. That's what Master Chief Reeves had taught her. Patience and timing. Most people rushed. made mistakes. The best operators waited for the perfect moment. Footsteps echoed in the tunnel. Multiple sets. Moving cautiously. Professional. These weren't amateurs. Riley controlled her breathing, slowed her heart rate, became part of the darkness. The contractors appeared. 4 of them, just like Bull said. Tactical gear under civilian clothes, suppressed weapons, night vision goggles mounted but not deployed. The lead contractor raised his hand. Stop signal. They'd found something. Blood trail, one of them whispered. Fresh, leading deeper. They followed it, following Riley's trap. She'd used Hawk's IV bag to create false blood drops leading away from their actual position. When they passed her hiding spot, Riley moved. Silent. Fast. The pipe wrench caught the rear contractor across the temple. He dropped without a sound. Riley caught his suppressed Glock before it hit the ground. Muscle memory. Weapon check. 13 rounds, safety off. The other 3 spun around, but Riley was already moving. 2 shots, center mass. Both dropped. The leader dove behind a support column, returned fire. Rounds sparked off metal around Riley's head. You're good, the contractor called out. Military training, let me guess. Navy. Riley didn't answer. Flanked left. Used the pipes for cover. It doesn't matter how good you are, the contractor continued. Cross has reach everywhere. You can't protect Sullivan forever. Can't protect yourself. Smart move would be to give us the drive and walk away. Not happening. Why honor duty? That SEAL you're protecting would have left you behind in Kabul if the roles were reversed. You don't know anything about Kabul. I know Master Chief Daniel Reeves bled out because his plate carrier failed. I know you performed CPR for 11 minutes while taking fire from 3 directions. I know you got the Navy Cross for it. And I know it didn't matter because he died anyway. Riley's finger tightened on the trigger. Who told you that? Same person who told us where to find Sullivan. Same person who's been feeding us intel on this hospital for 6 months. You really think you're the only one with secrets? Riley's mind raced. An informant. Inside the hospital. Someone with access to patient information, security protocols, surgical schedules. Someone like... No, it couldn't be. But the pieces fit. Dr. Brennan, Riley whispered. The contractor laughed. Smart girl. The good doctor has gambling debts. Bad ones. Cross owns him. Has for years. Every surgery, every patient, every movement in this hospital, Brennan reports it all. Riley's world tilted. She'd sent Brennan back upstairs. Told him their plan. And he'd gone straight to gunfire erupted from Bull's position. The distinct crack of his weapon. Then silence. Bull, Riley shouted. No answer. The contractor smiled in the darkness. Your friend just ran into some of my colleagues. He's done. Sullivan's done. And you're about to be done. Last chance. Give me the drive. Riley's hand went to her pocket, empty, because she'd given the real drive to Dr. Chen. What she had was a decoy, a spare USB drive she'd grabbed from a computer station. But the contractor didn't know that. She pulled it out, held it up. You want this? Come take it. The contractor stepped out from cover, confident, weapon raised but not firing. He thought he'd won. Riley let him get close. 3 feet, 2 feet. Then she threw the decoy drive down the tunnel. The contractor's eyes tracked it automatically. Human reflex. Riley shot him twice. Center mass. He dropped. She grabbed his weapon. Better firepower. Checked her 6. Clear. Moved toward Bull's position. She found him slumped against the wall. Blood on his shoulder. Alive. Breathing. Bull. Talk to me. Took one in the shoulder. Vest caught the rest. I'm fine. Did you get them? 4 down. But there might be more. There's always more. Riley helped him up. They needed to get to Dr. Chen. Needed to protect Hawk. Needed to... Her radio crackled. Dr. Chen's voice terrified. Riley, if you can hear me. They're in the operating room. They have Hawk. They're saying if you don't bring the drive in 5 minutes, they'll kill everyone on the surgical floor. Riley and Bull exchanged looks. How many? Riley asked into the radio. I count 6. Maybe more. Riley, what do we do? Riley's jaw set. She'd spent 3 years running from who she was. 3 years hiding. 3 years trying to forget the promises she'd made to Master Chief Reeves. But some promises couldn't be forgotten. Some promises defined who you were. Dr. Chen. Riley's voice went calm. Command authority. Tell them the angel is coming, and she's done running. She looked at Bull. You good to move? I'll manage. Good, because we're about to do something incredibly stupid. What's that? Riley checked her weapons. 13 rounds in the Glock, 27 in the contractor's rifle. Not enough. Never enough. But it would have to do. We're going to save everyone on that surgical floor. And then, we're going to make Victor Cross regret the day he decided to profit off the deaths of American warriors. Bull grinned through his pain. Now you sound like the angel I remember. They moved toward the stairwell, toward the fight, toward the reckoning. And somewhere in the darkness, Riley felt Master Chief Reeves watching, approving. She'd kept her promise. She'd kept fighting. And she was just getting started. The stairwell smelled like copper and fear. Riley's boots made no sound on the concrete steps. Bull followed 3 paces behind his wounded shoulder, pressed against the wall for support. Every floor they climbed brought them closer to the surgical wing, closer to Hawk, closer to the contractors who'd already proven they'd kill anyone in their way. Riley's finger rested outside the trigger guard. Discipline. Master Chief Reeves had drilled it into her 1,000 times. Panic puts rounds in the wrong places, Angel. Stay cold, stay precise. They reached the 4th floor landing. Riley raised her fist. Stop signal. Bull froze. Voices filtered through the door. 2 men, contractors, guarding the stairwell entrance. Said the nurse is former military, Navy Cross recipient. So what medals don't stop bullets? Tell that to the 4 guys she already put down. Silence. Then nervous laughter. Cross is paying us to handle 1 wounded SEAL and recover a flash drive. Nobody said anything about combat vets. You want to tell him we're scared of a nurse? I'm saying we should be smart about this. Riley listened to their fear, used it. Fear made people hesitate. Hesitation created opportunities. She held up 3 fingers to Bull. 3 seconds. He nodded. 3. Riley's hand moved to the door handle. 2. Bull raised his weapon one-handed, bracing it against his good shoulder. 1. Riley yanked the door open. Bull fired twice. Both contractors dropped before they could raise their weapons. Clean, efficient, the way SEAL operators were trained to work. They dragged the bodies into the stairwell. Riley took their radios, their spare magazines, their tactical earpieces. Intel. Always gather intel. She pressed the earpiece into her ear. Voices crackled. Report. Section 4, report. Riley keyed the mic, deepened her voice. Section 4, all clear. Copy. Keep that stairwell locked down. The woman's dangerous. Roger. Bull looked at her with new respect. You sound like a guy. Spent 2 years embedded with SEAL teams. You learned to fit in. They moved into the corridor. Hospital lights flickered overhead. Emergency mode. Someone had triggered the building's lockdown protocol. Smart. Trapped the contractors inside. But it also trapped everyone else. The surgical wing was ahead. Riley could hear voices, shouting. Dr. Chen crying. And underneath it all the steady beep of Hawk's heart monitor. Still alive. Still fighting. Riley's radio crackled again. A different voice this time. Older. Authority. Attention all units. The woman is Riley Morgan, former hospital corpsman, Navy SEAL support. She's responsible for 4 confirmed kills in the last 20 minutes. Do not underestimate her. Shoot on sight. Bull whistled softly. They know your full service record. Cross has connections everywhere. Riley's jaw tightened. Including inside military databases, apparently. How deep does this go? Deep enough that Master Chief Reeves died because of it. They reached the surgical wing doors, reinforced glass. Riley could see through to the nurse's station. 3 contractors, weapons drawn. One of them held Dr. Chen by the arm. The young resident's face was streaked with tears, but her eyes were angry, defiant. Behind them, through the operating room windows, Riley counted 3 more contractors surrounding Hawk's gurney, and standing among them, looking sick and terrified, was Dr. Marcus Brennan. Traitor. The word burned in Riley's mind, but she pushed the anger down. Emotion clouded judgment. Right now, she needed cold precision. Bull, can you take the 3 at the nurse's station? From here, through glass, with one good arm. He paused. Yeah, I can take them. On my signal. Riley pulled the contractor's radio from her belt, keyed the mic. This is Morgan. I have the drive. Let's make a deal. The contractors froze. One of them, the apparent leader, a man with a scar running from his temple to his jaw, grabbed a radio. Where are you? Close enough to kill you. Far enough to escape if I need to. Big talk. I put down 4 of your men in a basement with a pipe wrench. Want to test me again? Scarface smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. What kind of deal do you? The drive for the hostages. Everyone walks away. Not everyone. Sullivan knows too much. He dies. Non-negotiable. Riley's finger tightened on her weapon. Then we've got a problem. No, you've got a problem. We've got hostages. 37 patients on this floor. 12 nurses. 8 doctors. You want their blood on your hands, nurse. Riley closed her eyes, breathed, thought. 37 patients. People who came here to be healed, not to die in a corporate war. People with families, lives, futures. The kind of people Master Chief Reeves had taught her to protect. What's your name? Riley asked. Why? Because I like to know who I'm negotiating with. Kovac. Victor Kovac. Former Spetsnaz. Current head of Cross-Security Solutions Tactical Operations. Russian Special Forces. Impressive. I've killed more people than you've saved, little nurse. Doubt it. Riley's voice went cold. I was in Helmand province for 18 months. Ramadi for 6. Kabul during the withdrawal. I've seen more death than you can imagine, and I've prevented more than you could count. Kovac laughed. War stories. Everyone's got them. Mine are real. Want proof? Ask the 4 contractors in your basement. Oh wait, you can't. They're dead. The smile vanished from Kovac's face. You've got 5 minutes. Bring the drive to the surgical floor, alone, or I start executing hostages. The radio went dead. Bull looked at her. You've got a plan, right? Working on it. Work faster. Riley studied the layout. 3 contractors at the nurse's station, 3 in the operating room. Kovac made 7 total, plus whoever was coordinating from outside. Call it 10 total contractors, against her and Bull. Terrible odds. But she'd faced worse. Bull, you remember the Kabul embassy extraction? The one where we were outnumbered 15-1. That's the one. Same principle applies here. We barely survived Kabul. Barely is better than not at all. Riley checked her weapons. 23 rounds total. Bull had 8. 31 rounds against 10 trained operators. The math didn't work, unless she changed the equation. Bull, I need you to create a distraction, something big, something that pulls their attention away from the hostages. What kind of distraction? Explosive, loud, scary. Bull's eyes lit up. The oxygen storage room, 2 floors down. Those tanks go up, whole building's going to feel it. Will it hurt anyone? Not if I vent them properly. But it'll sound like World War III. Do it. 5 minutes. Bull moved toward the stairwell, then stopped. Riley, if this goes bad, it won't. But if it does, what you did in Kabul, what you did for Reeves, you're a hero. Don't let anyone tell you different. He disappeared into the stairwell before she could respond. Riley turned back to the surgical wing. Kovac was visible through the glass, checking his watch, counting down the minutes. Dr. Chen was still at the nurse's station, held by one of the contractors. The young resident's eyes found Riley through the glass, pleading, terrified, but still fighting. Riley held up her hand. 5 fingers, then 4, 3. Wait. Her radio crackled. Kovac's voice. 4 minutes, nurse. Then people start dying. Riley keyed her mic. I'm coming. Don't do anything stupid. She walked toward the surgical wing doors, hands visible, weapon lowered but not dropped. Every step measured. Calm. Like she was walking into a routine shift, not a kill zone. The contractors tensed, weapons raised, fingers on triggers. Riley stopped at the door, held up the decoy flash drive. Let them see it. Kovac smiled. Smart girl, open the door, slowly. Riley pushed through. The surgical wing air felt colder, heavier, the weight of lives hanging in the balance. Put the drive on the floor, kick it over. Riley complied. The drive skittered across the linoleum. One of the contractors scooped it up, handed it to Kovac. That wasn't so hard, was it? Kovac examined the drive. Now we kill the seal, clean up the loose ends, and everyone goes home. You said you'd release the hostages. I lied. Riley's expression didn't change. Figured you would. Then why give us the drive? Because you needed to think you'd won. Needed you all in one place. Focused on me instead of watching your backs. Kovac's smile faltered. What are you? The explosion ripped through the building. Not close, 2 floors down, but massive. The floor shook. Lights flickered. Fire alarms screamed. Sprinkler systems activated. Water cascaded from the ceiling. The contractors spun toward the sound. Weapons tracking. Confusion. Fear. Riley moved. She dropped, rolled, came up with her weapon firing. 2 shots. The contractor holding Dr. Chen went down. The resident broke free, ran. Riley kept moving. 3 more shots. Another contractor dropped, but the others were recovering. Returning fire. Rounds snapped past her head. She dove behind the nurse's station, grabbed a medication cart, shoved it toward the contractors. The heavy cart caught one of them in the legs. He went down. Kovac was shouting, trying to restore order. But the explosion had shattered their coordination. They were reacting instead of acting. Riley used it. She popped up, fired, 4 rounds, dropped back down. Reload. Up again. 3 more rounds. Another contractor fell. But she was running out of ammunition, and Kovac was adapting. He grabbed a nurse, an older woman named Patricia, who'd worked at San Diego Metro for 30 years. Used her as a shield. Enough. Kovac pressed his weapon against Patricia's head. Drop it or she dies. Riley froze. Patricia's eyes were wide, terrified. 63 years old, grandmother of 5. Riley had worked with her for 3 years. Knew her stories. Knew her family. Drop the weapon, Morgan. Riley's finger trembled on the trigger. Clean shot. Maybe. Kovac's head was partially visible, but if she missed, Patricia died. If the round overpenetrated, Patricia died. Too many variables. 3 seconds, Kovac shouted. 3. Riley's mind raced. Master Chief Reeves' voice echoed in her memory. Sometimes the right choice is the one that breaks your heart, Angel. You save who you can. You live with the rest. 2. Riley lowered her weapon, set it on the floor, raised her hands. Kovac laughed. Smart. Now kick it away. Riley complied. All of you. Kovac gestured to the remaining contractors. Secure her. If she moves, kill the old woman. 2 contractors approached Riley. Weapons trained, professional. They'd learned from their dead colleagues' mistakes. Riley didn't resist. Let them grab her arms, pull them behind her back. Zip ties cut into her wrists. Tight, painful, effective. Kovac released Patricia. The older nurse collapsed, sobbing. Now, Kovac approached Riley. Where's the real drive? That was the real drive. Kovac backhanded her. The blow snapped her head sideways. Blood filled her mouth. She spat it out. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know when someone's playing me. That drive was a decoy. Where's the real one? Riley smiled through bloody teeth. Somewhere you'll never find it. We'll see. Kovac nodded to his contractors. One of them grabbed a scalpel from a surgical tray, moved toward Hawk's gurney. No! Riley lunged forward. The contractors holding her yanked her back. Kovac laughed. Now we're getting somewhere. You care about him. Good. That's leverage. He walked to Hawk's gurney. The SEAL's eyes were closed, sedated, vulnerable. Kovac traced the scalpel along Hawk's jawline. Tell me where the drive is or I start cutting pieces off your friend. Riley's heart hammered. She'd promised Hawk she wouldn't leave him. Promised Bull she'd protect the evidence. Promised Master Chief Reeves she'd keep fighting for those who couldn't. But promises collided, competing, impossible. I gave it to someone, Riley said. Someone who's already left the building. Who? Does it matter? By now it's in federal hands. Your boss is finished. Kovac's face darkened. Then you just signed everyone's death warrant. He raised his weapon, pointed it at Patricia. The surgical wing door burst open. Dr. Brennan stumbled in hands raised, followed by 3 more contractors. One of them shoved Brennan forward. Found this one hiding in a supply closet, the contractor said. Says he's got information. Kovac lowered his weapon. What kind of information? Brennan's voice shook. I know where the drive is. I can get it for you. Just don't kill anyone else, please. Riley's eyes widened. Brennan, don't. Shut up. Kovac pressed his weapon against Riley's head. Talk, doctor. Where is it? The young resident, Dr. Chen. She has it. I saw Morgan give it to her in the basement. She was taking it to the emergency exit on the east side. Riley's blood ran cold. Brennan had just condemned Dr. Chen to death. Kovac smiled. Good. See, cooperation keeps people alive. He gestured to 2 contractors. Find the resident. Bring her back, alive. She might know things. The contractors left. Kovac turned back to Brennan. You've been useful, Doctor. Cross will remember that. I just want this to end, Brennan whispered. I never wanted anyone to die. Of course not. You just wanted the money. The gambling debts paid off. The easy life. Kovac's tone turned mocking. You're not a bad person, Doctor. Just a weak one. I'm sorry. Brennan looked at Riley. I'm so sorry. Riley said nothing. Her mind was calculating. 2 contractors sent after Dr. Chen. That left 5 in the surgical wing. Kovac and 4 others. Still bad odds, but better than 7. And Bull was still out there somewhere. Wounded but mobile, armed, trained. The fire alarms continued shrieking. Water from the sprinklers soaked everything. Blood mixed with water, creating pink streams across the floor. Riley tested the zip ties. Tight, no give. She'd need a cutting edge to break free, or a distraction big enough that nobody noticed her working the ties. Hawk stirred on the gurney, eyes fluttering. The sedatives were wearing off, probably from the adrenaline, the body's response to trauma. Well, Kovac noticed. Our guest is waking up. Hawk's eyes opened, focused, found Kovac, then found Riley. Understanding dawned. Angel. His voice was hoarse. What did you do? My job, protecting my patient. By surrendering, by buying time. Kovac laughed. Time for what? Your friend with the shoulder wound to save you. The old resident to call the police. This building is locked down. Nobody's coming. As if to prove his point, Kovac pulled out a cell phone jammer. The device hummed. Every phone in the surgical wing went dead. Modern technology, isn't it wonderful? Kovac pocketed the jammer. Now we wait for my men to return with the drive. Then we eliminate all witnesses and vanish. Simple, clean, professional. Except it won't work, Riley said. Why not? Because Bull isn't just some operator with a shoulder wound. He's Chief Petty Officer Marcus Patterson, 28 years in Marine Recon, 2 Navy Crosses, 3 Silver Stars. If you think I'm dangerous, you haven't seen him angry. 1 wounded Marine against my entire team, I'll take those odds. You shouldn't. Kovac's radio crackled. Sir, we found the resident. She's in the east stairwell. We're bringing her back. Copy. Good work. Riley's heart sank. Dr. Chen, 26 years old, barely started her career, about to die because Riley had trusted her with the drive. More guilt, more weight, more promises she couldn't keep. Hawk must have seen it in her face. Angel, listen to me. Listen to. This isn't Kabul. This isn't Master Chief Reeves. You can't save everyone. I saved you in Kabul. And I'm grateful. But some fights, you have to accept losses. I don't accept that. Then you're going to destroy yourself. Riley turned away. She couldn't look at him. Couldn't face the truth in his words. The surgical wing doors opened. The two contractors returned, dragging Dr. Chen between them. The young resident's face was bruised. Blood dripped from her nose, but her eyes burned with fury. "Let me go." She struggled against their grip. Kovac approached her. "Where's the drive?" "I don't have any drive." "We searched her," one of the contractors said. "Nothing." Kovac's eyes narrowed. "Where did you hide it?" "I don't know what you're talking about." He slapped her, hard. Dr. Chen's head snapped sideways. She stumbled but didn't fall. Riley lunged against her restraints. The contractors holding her yanked her back. "Leave her alone. Tell me where the drive is and I will." "She doesn't have it." "Then where is it?" Riley's mind worked frantically. The drive was still in Dr. Chen's pocket. Had to be. Unless she'd hidden it, or dropped it. Or Dr. Chen's eyes met Riley's, for just a fraction of a second. And Riley understood. The resident had swallowed it. A flash drive was small, maybe an inch long, half an inch wide, uncomfortable but swallowable, and impossible to find without medical imaging. Brilliant. Risky. But brilliant. Kovac saw the exchange. "What was that? What did she just tell you?" "Nothing." "Liar." He grabbed Dr. Chen by the throat, lifted her until her feet dangled. "Last chance. Where is it?" Dr. Chen choked, gagged. Her face turned red, but she didn't speak. "Fine." Kovac released her. She collapsed, gasping. "Doesn't matter. We'll just kill everyone and search the bodies later." He raised his weapon, pointed it at Dr. Chen's head. Riley screamed. "Wait!" Kovac paused. "What? I'll tell you. Just don't kill her. Please." "Where is it?" Riley's mind raced. She needed to lie. Needed to buy time. Needed to... The lights went out. Complete darkness. Emergency lighting kicked in after 3 seconds. Red glow. Shadows everywhere. And in that 3-second window, Bull moved. The stairwell door exploded open. Bull emerged, weapon firing. 2 contractors dropped before anyone could react. He moved like liquid death despite his wounded shoulder. Target to target. Precise. Lethal. The remaining contractors returned fire. Muzzle flashes lit the darkness. Chaos. Screaming. Riley drove her elbow backward, caught one of her captors in the face, felt his nose break. He released her. She spun, brought her zip-tied hands down hard on the other captor's weapon. The gun discharged. Wild shot, but it made him flinch. Riley head-butted him. He went down. She grabbed his knife, cut her zip ties. Free. Kovac was shouting orders, trying to organize his team. But Bull had shattered their formation. Turned the surgical wing into a killing ground. Riley grabbed a dropped weapon. Moved toward Hawk's gurney. She had to get him out. Had to protect Kovac appeared from the shadows. Weapon raised, aimed at Hawk. This ends now. Riley dove in front of the gurney. Felt the impact before she heard the shot. Her chest. Burning. She looked down. Blood spreading across her scrubs. No. Not now. Not like this. She'd been shot before. Afghanistan. Small arms fire. Through and through in her left shoulder. She'd kept fighting. Kept working. Pain was just information. Your body telling you something was wrong. You didn't have to listen. Riley raised her weapon. Fired. Once. Twice. 3 times. Kovac stumbled backward. Looked surprised. Looked down at his chest. 3 red flowers blooming. He tried to raise his weapon. Couldn't. Fell. Riley's legs gave out. She collapsed against Hawk's gurney. Angel. Hawk's voice seemed distant. Stay with me. Bull, I need medical here. Bull appeared, checked Riley's wound. His face went grim. Through and through. Missed the heart, but probably nicked a lung. We need to move her now. Can you carry her? With one good arm, not far. Dr. Chen crawled over, her medical training overriding her fear. Let me help. Together they got Riley onto a gurney. The world spun, tilted. Riley tried to speak, but her lungs wouldn't cooperate. Blood filled her mouth, sucking chest wound. She'd treated dozens of them. Now she had one. Irony. Dr. Chen worked with steady hands, occlusive dressing, sealing the wound, preventing tension pneumothorax. Good. Smart. Riley had taught her well. Somebody call for help, Dr. Chen ordered. We need an OR now. Phones are dead, Bull said. Jammer. Then find it and destroy it. Bull searched Kovac's body, found the jammer, smashed it against the floor. Immediately, phones began ringing. People calling 911, calling for help. Patricia, the older nurse, took charge. OR3 is prepped. Move her now. They wheeled Riley through corridors, faces blurred past, colleagues, people she'd worked with for 3 years. Some looked shocked, others looked scared. All of them looked at her differently now. They knew what she'd been, what she was, the angel of death. They reached OR3. Dr. Ashford was there, the cardiovascular surgeon who'd lost his brother in Afghanistan. He looked at Riley at her wound at Bull, still holding his own bleeding shoulder. What happened? Contractors, trying to kill Hawk. Riley stopped them. Bull's voice was steady, professional, making a report. Is she going to make it? That's your job to determine, Doctor. Ashford nodded. Move to the scrub sink. Prep her, I'll operate. Riley tried to sit up. Couldn't. Tried to speak. Failed. Dr. Chen leaned close. Don't try to talk. Save your strength. Riley grabbed her wrist, squeezed, looked into the young resident's eyes, willed her to understand. The drive. Keep it safe. Dr. Chen nodded fractionally. I understand. I've got it. Riley relaxed, closed her eyes, heard Master Chief Reeves's voice in her memory. You did good, Angel. Real good. Rest now. Let someone else stand watch. For the first time in 3 years, Riley Morgan stopped fighting, stopped running, let the darkness take her, and dreamed of promises kept and battles won, and the weight finally lifting from shoulders too tired to carry it anymore. The heart monitor flatlined for 11 seconds. Dr. Ashford's hands moved inside Riley's chest cavity, searching for the bleeder that was killing her. Blood pooled faster than the suction could clear it. The surgical team worked in focused silence, their movements choreographed by years of training and the desperate urgency of watching a colleague die on their table. Found it, Ashford said. Intercostal artery, clamp. The nurse slapped the instrument into his palm. Ashford clamped. The bleeding slowed, stopped. Come on, Riley, Ashford whispered. Don't you dare quit on me. He'd never called her by her first name before. 3 years working in the same hospital, and it had always been Nurse Morgan, professional distance. But watching her take a bullet for a patient had changed something. She wasn't just a colleague anymore. She was a warrior. His brother had been a warrior too. Captain Thomas Ashford, killed in Kandahar. IED. Faulty equipment that should have detected the bomb but didn't. The same faulty equipment that Victor Cross had been selling to the military for years. Ashford didn't know about the connection yet. But he would. Soon enough he would. The monitor beeped. Once. Twice. Rhythm returning. Weak, but present. She's back, the anesthesiologist announced. Sinus rhythm. Pressures stabilizing. Ashford exhaled. His hands trembled slightly as he began closing the chest wound. Get me a status on Lieutenant Commander Sullivan, and someone find out what the hell happened to our hospital tonight. Outside OR3 Bull sat against the wall. A paramedic was working on his shoulder, but his eyes never left the operating room door. 28 years in Marine Recon, 2 Navy Crosses, countless missions. And tonight, a 23-year-old nurse had reminded him what real courage looked like. She'd taken a bullet for Hawk, thrown herself in front of the shot without hesitation, the same way Master Chief Reeves had thrown himself in front of bullets for her in Kabul. The cycle of sacrifice. Warriors protecting warriors. His phone buzzed. Text from NCIS. They'd received his emergency transmission before Kovac's jammer went active. Federal agents were en route. ETA 15 minutes. Too late to help with the fight. But maybe not too late to help with what came next. Doctor. Chen appeared still wearing her blood-stained scrubs. She'd refused to leave the surgical wing until every patient was accounted for, 23 years old, first year of residency, and she'd just survived a firefight that would have broken veterans twice her age. How is she? Chen asked. Still in surgery. Ashford's good. If anyone can save her, he can. Chen sat down beside Bull. Her hands were shaking. Delayed shock. It happened to everyone after combat, even the strongest. She gave me the drive, Chen said quietly. Told me to protect it no matter what. Where is it? Chen patted her stomach. Inside me. I swallowed it when they caught me in the stairwell. Bull stared at her, then laughed. A deep rumbling sound that echoed through the empty corridor. You swallowed federal evidence. It was either that or let them take it. Riley trusted me. I wasn't going to let her down. Kid, you've got guts. Stupid guts, but guts. I'm a doctor. I know what the human body can pass safely. Still, that's commitment. They sat in silence for a moment. The adrenaline was fading. Reality setting in. People had died tonight. Contractors. But also 2 security guards who'd been in the wrong place at the wrong time. And Patricia, the 63-year-old nurse who'd been used as a human shield, was in shock treatment. She'd survive physically. Mentally was another question. Bull, Chen said. Who is Riley really? I mean, I know she's former military, Navy Cross. But that doesn't explain what I saw tonight. The way she moved. The way she thought. It was like watching a different person. Bull considered the question. How much to tell? How much Riley would want shared? 3 years ago, he said finally. Riley Morgan was the youngest female combat medic ever assigned to a SEAL team. Not officially, you understand. Women weren't allowed in combat roles then. But the rules got bent when you were good enough, and Riley was the best. What happened? Kabul, August 2021, the withdrawal. Her team was protecting civilian evacuees when they got ambushed. 30 Taliban fighters, 8 SEALs, and Riley. Chen's eyes widened. That's impossible odds. Should have been. But Riley kept 7 of those 8 SEALs alive, treated wounds under fire, called in air support, organized the defense when their team leader went down. She was 20 years old. And the 8th SEAL, Bull's jaw tightened. Master Chief Daniel Reeves, her mentor. He took 3 rounds protecting her during the final push to the extraction point. Died in her arms. Chen was silent for a long moment. That's why she ran. Why she became a civilian nurse. She didn't run. She retreated. There's a difference. Sometimes warriors need to heal before they can fight again. And tonight the fight found her. And she answered. That's what real warriors do. The operating room door opened. Ashford emerged, pulling off his surgical cap. His face was exhausted but relieved. She's stable. Lost a lot of blood, but the damage was repairable. She's going to make it. Bull closed his eyes, released a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. Can I see her? She's unconscious. Will be for hours. I'll wait. Ashford nodded, started to walk away, then stopped. Bull, the things Kovac said before he died, about faulty equipment, about someone profiting from military deaths. Is that true? It's true. My brother died because of faulty equipment. IED detector that didn't work. I know. Ashford's hands clenched into fists. Who's responsible? Victor Cross, defense contractor, billions in government contracts. He's been selling substandard equipment to the military for years, pocketing the difference, and selling information to our enemies on the side. And the drive Riley was protecting? Evidence. Enough to bring him down. Enough to get justice for everyone he's killed. Ashford looked at the operating room where Riley lay unconscious. At the corridor where the blood still hadn't been fully cleaned. At Dr. Chen, still shaking from her ordeal. What can I do? Right now, keep Riley alive. Keep this quiet until NCIS arrives, and when the time comes, be ready to testify. Testify about tonight, about what you saw, about the kind of person Riley Morgan really is. Ashford straightened. Something shifted in his expression. A decision being made. I'll do more than testify. I'll make sure everyone knows what she did, what she sacrificed. He walked away, already pulling out his phone, making calls. A man with a mission. Another warrior joining the fight. Bull turned to Chen. You should get some rest. It's going to be a long night. I'm not leaving until Riley wakes up. Could be hours. Then I'll wait hours. Bull smiled. You remind me of her. Same stubbornness. I'll take that as a compliment. They waited. The hospital slowly returned to something approaching normal. Police arrived. Then FBI. Then NCIS. The building became a crime scene. Bodies were photographed. Evidence collected. Statements taken. Bull gave his statement 3 times. To the police. To the FBI. To NCIS Special Agent Victoria Hayes, a 45-year-old woman with sharp eyes and a sharper mind. She listened without interrupting, made notes, asked clarifying questions. So Lieutenant Commander Sullivan has evidence of fraud, espionage, and murder by Victor Cross and his company, correct. And this evidence is currently inside Dr. Sarah Chen's digestive system. Bull suppressed a smile. Also correct. That's a new one. Hayes made another note. We'll need to recover that drive as soon as medically possible. Dr. Chen is aware. She's cooperating fully. And Nurse Morgan, Riley Morgan? She's the one who organized the defense, killed 4 contractors in the basement, took a bullet protecting Sullivan. Yes. Hayes looked at her notes, looked at Bull. Her service record is impressive. Navy Cross, Purple Heart, Combat Action Ribbon. But she's been working as a civilian nurse for 3 years. No contact with military. No use of her training. Why? That's her story to tell, not mine. Hayes nodded, respect in her eyes. Fair enough. When she's conscious, I'll need her statement. She'll cooperate. Riley's never run from responsibility. Just from her past. Bull didn't respond. Some truths didn't need acknowledgement. 3 hours later, Riley opened her eyes. The recovery room was quiet. Dim. She tried to move and pain lanced through her chest. Fresh stitches. Drainage tubes. The familiar discomfort of major surgery. Don't move. Bull's voice came from beside her bed. Ashford did good work, but you need to heal. Riley turned her head, saw Bull in a chair. His shoulder bandaged, his eyes tired but alert. Hawk. Alive. Surgery went well. He's in recovery 2 rooms down. Dr. Chen, also fine. Physically anyway. She's got the drive. Swallowed it. Can you believe that? Riley managed a weak smile. I knew she had guts. Speaking of guts, yours almost ended up on the operating room floor. What were you thinking jumping in front of that bullet? Wasn't thinking. Just reacting. That's what worries me. Riley closed her eyes. The memories came flooding back. The firefight. Kovac's face. The sound of the gunshot. The impact. The fear that she'd failed. That everyone would die because she wasn't good enough. How many? She whispered. How many what? How many people died tonight? Bull was silent for a moment. 10 contractors, 2 security guards, and Dr. Marcus Brennan. Riley's eyes snapped open. Brennan's dead. Kovac shot him. Right before you took down Kovac. Brennan tried to stop him from executing Patricia. First decent thing he'd done in years, and it got him killed. Riley processed this. Brennan. The man who'd mocked her. Humiliated her. Betrayed the hospital to Cross's people. In the end, he'd tried to make it right. Had found his courage too late. He died trying to save someone, Riley said. Yeah. That counts for something. Does it? Riley thought about Master Chief Reeves, about the promises she'd made, about the weight she'd carried for 3 years. Everyone deserves a chance at redemption. even the ones who don't deserve it. Bull leaned back in his chair. You sound like Reeves. He taught me well. He'd be proud of you, Angel. What you did tonight. The lives you saved. The way you fought. Riley felt tears prick her eyes. She blinked them away. I broke my promise to him. What promise? I stopped fighting. For 3 years I hid. Pretended to be someone I wasn't. Let the guilt win. And tonight I remembered who I am. Bull reached out, took her hand, squeezed gently. Welcome back, Angel. They sat in silence for a while. The monitors beeped steadily. Outside the sun was rising. A new day. A new beginning. Agent Hayes appeared in the doorway. Ms. Morgan, I'm Special Agent Victoria Hayes, NCIS. When you're feeling up to it, I need your statement. Riley nodded. Now is fine. You just had major surgery. And I've given statements with worse injuries. Ask Bull. Bull shrugged. She's not wrong. Hayes pulled up a chair, opened her tablet. Let's start from the beginning. How do you know Lieutenant Commander Sullivan? Riley took a breath, let it out slowly, and began to tell her story. She started with Afghanistan, with Master Chief Reeves, with the promises made in blood and fire. She talked about Kabul, about the withdrawal, about the ambush that had killed Reeves and shattered her world. She explained why she'd left the Navy, why she'd become a civilian nurse, why she'd spent 3 years trying to forget who she was. Hayes listened without interrupting, made notes. Her expression remained neutral professional, but her eyes showed something else. Understanding, maybe even respect. And tonight, Hayes prompted, how did you recognize the threat Riley described seeing Hawk in the trauma bay? The recognition, the fear. The moment she'd realized her past had found her. She walked through the basement fight, the tactical decisions, the kills. She didn't flinch from the violence, didn't try to justify it, just reported the facts. You killed 4 trained contractors with a pipe wrench and a stolen weapon, Hayes said. Against impossible odds. How so? Training, instinct, and a lot of luck. That's not luck, that's skill. Riley shook her head. Luck is surviving long enough for skill to matter. I've seen better operators than me die because luck wasn't on their side. Hayes closed her tablet. Ms. Morgan, the evidence on that drive is going to bring down Victor Cross and his entire organization. We're talking about billions in fraud, espionage, murder. This is the biggest military corruption case in decades. Good. You'll need to testify. Publicly. Your identity, your service record, everything will become public knowledge. Riley had expected this, dreaded it, but after tonight, hiding seemed pointless. I understand. There will be media attention, a lot of it. You're going to be famous whether you want to be or not. I don't want fame. I want justice. For Master Chief Reeves, for Hawk, for every soldier who died because Cross put profit over lives. Hayes stood. You'll have it. I promise you that. After she left, Bull looked at Riley. You sure about this? Going public? No, but it's the right thing to do. Reeves would say the same thing. Reeves would say, I should have done it 3 years ago. Maybe. But 3 years ago, you weren't ready. Now you are. Riley looked at the ceiling, thought about the path that had brought her here, the pain, the guilt, the running, and finally the fighting. Bull, do you think people can change? Really change? I think people can become more of who they already are. You were always a warrior, Angel. You just forgot for a while. I didn't forget. I was afraid. Fear doesn't make you weak. Letting fear stop you makes you weak. You stopped letting it stop you tonight. The door opened again. Dr. Chen entered looking exhausted but determined. Riley, you're awake. Thanks to you. That chest seal probably saved my life. Chen sat on the edge of the bed. I learned from the best. You taught me that technique 3 months ago. Said it was something you picked up overseas. Riley smiled. Didn't think you'd need it so soon. Neither did I. Chen hesitated. NCIS wants to recover the drive. They're talking about, accelerated methods. Laxatives. Strong ones. Fun. Chen laughed. It was a release of tension, of fear, of everything she'd been holding in since the nightmare began. Riley, I need to ask you something. Go ahead. Will you teach me not just medical techniques, everything? How you think, how you stay calm under pressure, how you make decisions when lives are on the line. Riley studied the young resident, saw herself 3 years ago, eager, determined, ready to learn but not yet tested by fire. Tonight had been Chen's test. She'd passed. It's not something I can teach in a classroom, Riley said. It takes time, experience, making mistakes and learning from them. I'm willing to put in the time, even knowing what it costs, the nightmares, the guilt, the weight of every person you couldn't save. Chen met her eyes steadily. Even knowing. Riley nodded slowly. Then yes, I'll teach you. The next few hours passed in a blur of interviews, medical checks, and brief moments of rest. Riley learned that Hawk was awake and recovering, that the FBI had opened a formal investigation into Victor Cross, that the media had gotten wind of the hospital attack and were circling like sharks. She also learned something else, something that changed everything. Agent Hayes returned around noon, her expression grim. Ms. Morgan, we have a problem. What kind of problem? Victor Cross knows about the drive, knows we're about to recover it, and he's not going to let that happen. Riley's blood went cold. What do you mean? We intercepted communications. Cross has activated a second team, professional, well-funded. They're not coming to the hospital. They're going after everyone connected to this case. Everyone, your family, Dr. Chen's family, Lieutenant Commander Sullivan's family, anyone who might be used as leverage. Riley sat up despite the pain. I don't have family. They're dead. Then he'll go after your friends, your colleagues, anyone you care about. Bull stood. How many are we talking about? At least 20 operators, ex-military, private contractors, the best money can buy. Riley's mind raced. Cross was escalating. Instead of cutting his losses, he was doubling down, trying to destroy everyone who could connect him to the evidence. Where are they now? We don't know. That's the problem. They went dark after receiving their orders. So we're blind. Essentially. Riley swung her legs over the side of the bed. Pain screamed through her chest, but she pushed through it. I need to get out of here. You just had surgery. And Cross just sent 20 killers after innocent people. I can recover later. Right now, people need protection. Bull grabbed her arm. Angel, you can barely walk. Then help me walk. This is insane. This is what we do, what Reeves taught us. We protect people who can't protect themselves. Bull stared at her, saw the determination in her eyes. The fire that had been dormant for 3 years now burning bright. Damn it, he muttered. Fine, but we do this smart, not running around like idiots. Agreed. Agent Hayes, I need a list of everyone connected to this case. Everyone Cross might target. Hayes hesitated. That's classified. Make it unclassified, or explain to your superiors why innocent people died because you followed protocol. Hayes made a decision. Fine, but you coordinate with my team. No lone wolf operations. Understood. Riley stood, swayed. Bull caught her. Chen appeared with a wheelchair. If you're going to do something stupid, Chen said, at least do it sitting down. Riley allowed herself to be helped into the chair. Chen, I need you to stay here. Keep an eye on Hawk. He's still a target. I'm not letting you go alone. You're not trained for this. I'm trained enough. You said so yourself. Riley wanted to argue, but she saw herself in Chen's eyes. The same stubborn determination, the same refusal to stay behind when others were in danger. Fine, but you follow orders, no heroics. I learned from the best. They moved through the hospital. Bull pushed the wheelchair. Chen walked beside them. Agent Hayes coordinated via phone directing NCIS resources to potential targets. The elevator opened on the ground floor. Media trucks were visible through the windows. Reporters, cameras. The story had broken. Back entrance, Bull said. Hayes, do you have a vehicle? SUV in the parking structure, level 2. They made their way through service corridors. Riley's chest throbbed with every bump, but she pushed the pain aside. Focus on the mission. Deal with the consequences later. They reached the parking structure. Hayes's SUV was waiting. Black. Government plates. Armored, Riley noted. Good. They loaded in. Hayes driving. Bull shotgun. Riley and Chen in the back. First stop, Hayes asked. Dr. Chen's family. Where are they? Chen's face went pale. My parents live in Oceanside. My brother's at UCSD. Hayes, can you get protective details to them? Already en route, but it'll take time. How much time? 40 minutes minimum. Riley calculated. Oceanside was 30 minutes away. If Cross's people were already moving, they could beat the protective detail. Drive faster. The SUV accelerated. Riley watched the city blur past. Thought about all the promises she'd made. To Reeves, to Hawk, to herself. She'd spent 3 years breaking those promises. Running, hiding, pretending the past didn't matter. Tonight she'd started keeping them again. And she wasn't going to stop. Not until Cross was finished. Not until everyone connected to this case was safe. Not until justice was served. The SUV's radio crackled. Hayes's team. Agent Hayes, we have a problem. Cross's people hit the Chen residence. 2 hostiles. We're engaging. Chen screamed. My parents. Riley grabbed her hand. Squeezed. They'll be okay. Our people are there. But what if... Focus. We're 15 minutes out. Your parents need you to be strong. Chen nodded, wiped her eyes, steadied herself. Riley looked at Bull. He met her gaze. Understanding passed between them. The fight wasn't over. It was just beginning. The SUV tore through Oceanside streets at 90 miles per hour. Chen gripped the door handle, her knuckles white, her breathing shallow. Riley watched her recognize the signs. Panic attack building. The kind that could shatter someone if they didn't learn to control it. Sarah, Riley's voice cut through the fear. Look at me. Chen turned. Her eyes were wild, unfocused. Breathe. In through your nose, out through your mouth, slow. My parents are being protected by trained federal agents. Focus on what you can control. Your breathing, your thoughts. Everything else comes after. Chen nodded. Forced herself to breathe. Slow. Steady. The panic receded. Not gone, but manageable. Good, Riley said. Now listen. When we get there, you stay in the vehicle until Bull or I clear you to move. Understood. But my parents will need a doctor, not another victim. You're more useful alive. Stay in the car. The SUV rounded a corner. Chen's childhood home came into view, a modest 2-story house, American dream, white picket fence, and 2 black vans parked in front with their doors hanging open. Hayes slammed the brakes. NCIS teams engaged hostiles inside, 2 down, 2 more unaccounted for. Gunfire echoed from within the house, short bursts, professional. Riley opened her door. Bull grabbed her arm. You can barely walk. Then give me something to lean on. He handed her a spare weapon from the SUV's lockbox. Glock 19, 15 rounds. She checked the chamber, loaded, safety off. Stay behind me, Bull said. Like hell. They moved toward the house. Riley's chest screamed with every step, but she'd pushed through worse. The body was just a vehicle. The mind was what mattered, and her mind was focused, clear, ready. The front door was open. Blood on the threshold, not fresh, Older. The NCIS team had been here for several minutes. Bull went left. Riley went right. Standard entry protocol. Clear your corners. Watch your angles. Trust your partner. The living room was empty. Family photos on the walls. Chen as a child. Graduation. Medical school. A lifetime of memories that could end today if they didn't move fast. Kitchen clear. Bull's voice from the next room. Riley moved toward the stairs, heard movement above, footsteps, then a woman's scream. Mrs. Chen. Riley took the stairs 2 at a time. Pain exploded through her surgical wound. She felt stitches tear. Warm blood soaked through her bandages. Didn't matter. Nothing mattered except reaching that scream. The master bedroom door was closed. Riley kicked it open. 2 figures inside. A cross-contractor holding Mrs. Chen at gunpoint. An NCIS agent on the floor bleeding from a head wound but still breathing. Mr. Chen was in the corner, hands up, terror on his face. The contractor spun toward Riley. His weapon came up. Riley fired first. 2 rounds. Center mass. The contractor dropped. Mrs. Chen screamed again, collapsed against her husband. They held each other, sobbing. Riley checked the fallen agent. Pulse strong. The head wound was superficial. Scalp wounds bled a lot, but rarely killed. Clear, she called out. Bull appeared in the doorway. House is secure. Second hostile is down in the basement. NCIS got him. Riley holstered her weapon, looked at the Chens. Mr. and Mrs. Chen, I'm Riley Morgan. Your daughter sent me. Sarah. Mrs. Chen's voice broke. Where is she? Is she safe? She's outside, waiting. She's fine. Oh, thank God. Mrs. Chen burst into fresh tears. Thank God. Riley moved toward the window, signaled to the SUV. A moment later, Chen burst through the front door, running up the stairs, throwing herself into her parents' arms. The family held each other, crying, relieved, alive. Riley watched from the doorway, felt something shift inside her chest. Not pain, something else, something she hadn't felt in 3 years. Purpose. This was why she'd become a combat medic. Not for glory, not for medals, for moments like this. Families reunited, lives saved. The difference one person could make when they chose to fight instead of hide. Bull appeared beside her. You're bleeding. I know. You need medical attention. After. After what? After everyone's safe. Bull shook his head. You're going to kill yourself, Angel. Then I'll die doing something that matters. Hayes approached. Phone pressed to her ear. Her expression was grim. We have a problem. Cross's people hit 3 more targets simultaneously. Sullivan's sister in Phoenix, Dr. Ashford's family in La Jolla, and the hospital. Riley's blood went cold. The hospital. They're going after the remaining witnesses. Patricia, the other nurses who saw what happened, anyone who can testify. How many hostiles? Unknown. Security footage went dark 5 minutes ago. Riley made a decision. Bull, stay here. Protect the Chens. Hayes, get me back to the hospital. You're in no condition. I don't care about my condition. There are 37 patients on that surgical floor. 12 nurses, 8 doctors, people I've worked with for 3 years. I'm not letting them die. Hayes studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Let's move. They ran to the SUV. Chen tried to follow. No, Riley said. Stay with your parents. They need you. But you need help. I need you alive. Stay here. That's an order. Chen stopped. Tears streamed down her face. Riley, please come back. I will. I promise. Another promise. Another wait. But Riley had learned something tonight. Promises weren't burdens. They were anchors. They kept you grounded when everything else was chaos. The SUV screamed back toward San Diego. Hayes drove like a woman possessed. Riley used the time to check her weapon, her wounds, her mental state. The bleeding had slowed. The stitches hadn't completely torn. She'd survive long enough to finish this. Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Ms. Morgan, we have the hospital. 38 hostages. Come alone with the evidence or they start dying. 1 every 5 minutes. Clock starts now. Riley showed Hayes the message. Trap, Hayes said. Obviously. You're not seriously considering. I'm not giving them the evidence, but I need to buy time. Get your tactical team in position. I'll keep them talking. That's suicide. Maybe, but it's also the only play we have. Hayes made a call, coordinated with NCIS Tactical. SWAT was en route. FBI hostage rescue mobilizing. Everyone converging on San Diego Metropolitan Hospital. But bureaucracy moved slowly, and the 5-minute countdown had already started. They reached the hospital. The building was surrounded by police cars, their lights flashing, but their officers holding back. Standard hostage protocol. Don't escalate until you have a plan. Riley didn't have time for plans. She opened the SUV door before it fully stopped, stumbled out. Hayes grabbed her arm. Wait for backup. There's no time. Riley, Agent Hayes, I've spent 3 years running from who I am. Tonight I remembered. I'm a combat medic. I protect people. That's what I do. That's all I know how to do. Let me do my job. Hayes released her arm. 5 minutes, then we're coming in whether you like it or not. Make it 3. Riley walked toward the hospital entrance, alone, unarmed. She'd left her weapon in the SUV. Hostage situations required different tactics. Violence would just get people killed. The automatic doors opened. The lobby was empty. Emergency lights cast everything in red. Blood on the floor near the security desk. The guards had been taken by surprise. Her phone buzzed again. Surgical floor. Alone. Now. Riley took the stairs. Couldn't risk the elevator. Too easy to trap. Each step sent agony through her chest, but she kept climbing. 2nd floor, 3rd, 4th. The surgical wing doors were propped open. Inside, she could see them. Hostages lined against the walls. Patients in wheelchairs and gurneys. Nurses and doctors on their knees, hands behind their heads. And standing among them a dozen contractors in tactical gear. At the center of the room stood a man Riley didn't recognize. 50 years old. Silver hair. Expensive suit beneath a tactical vest. He smiled when he saw her. Miss Morgan, so glad you could join us. Who are you? Victor Cross. He spread his arms. In person. I don't usually handle field operations, but you've caused me considerable trouble tonight. I wanted to meet the woman who's cost me so much. Riley's heart hammered. Cross himself. The man responsible for Master Chief Reeves's death. For Hawk's wounds. For everything that had happened. The evidence, she said. You want it. Obviously, and you're going to give it to me. And if I don't? Cross nodded to one of his contractors. The man grabbed Patricia, the elderly nurse, and pressed a gun to her head. Then people start dying, beginning with her. Patricia's eyes found Riley. Terror, desperation, but also something else. Trust. The old nurse believed Riley would save her. Okay, Riley said. Okay, just don't hurt anyone. The evidence. Where is it? In federal custody. I don't have it. Cross's smile faded. Wrong answer. The contractor's finger tightened on the trigger. Wait. Riley's voice cracked. I can get it. The drive is being processed at NCIS headquarters. I can take you there. Use me as leverage. Just leave these people alone. Cross studied her, calculating. You'd sacrifice yourself for strangers. They're not strangers. They're my colleagues, my patients, my responsibility. How noble. Cross walked toward her, close enough that she could see the emptiness in his eyes, the complete absence of empathy. Do you know how much your nobility has cost me, Ms. Morgan? $300 million in contracts, 20 years of careful work, all because one SEAL decided to grow a conscience. Hawk discovered what you were doing, the faulty equipment, the leaked intelligence. How many soldiers died because of you? Soldiers die in war. That's what they're for. Riley's fists clenched. The rage was almost overwhelming. This man had killed Reeves, had killed dozens, maybe hundreds of American service members, and he spoke about it like a business transaction. You're a monster, she said. I'm a businessman. There's a difference. Cross gestured to his contractors. Secure her. We're leaving. Two contractors moved toward Riley. She didn't resist. Let them grab her arms, pull them behind her back. Zip ties again. Tight. Painful. Cross leaned close. You know what I find fascinating? You had the perfect cover. Civilian nurse. Nobody looking for you. You could have handed over Sullivan and gone back to your quiet life. Instead, you chose to fight. Why? Riley met his eyes. Because I made a promise. To whom? To a man you killed, Master Chief Daniel Reeves. He died because the body armor you sold to the military was defective. 3 rounds that should have been stopped went straight through. He bled out in my arms while I tried to save him. Something flickered in Cross's expression. Recognition guilt, numbered annoyance, like she'd mentioned an accounting error. Yes, the Kabul incident. Unfortunate. But those defects were within acceptable tolerances. The military approved the equipment. Because you bribed the inspectors. Because I understand how business works. Every system has pressure points. Every person has a price. Even you, Ms. Morgan. You just haven't found yours yet. You're wrong. Am I? Cross smiled. We'll see. He turned to address the hostages. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We'll be leaving shortly. Cooperate, and you'll all go home to your families. Resist, and well. He gestured to the contractor still holding Patricia at gunpoint. You understand? One of the younger nurses started crying. A doctor tried to comfort her, but his own hands were shaking. The fear in the room was palpable, choking. Riley scanned the hostages. Counted. 39 total. Patients, staff, visitors. Ordinary people who'd come to the hospital for help and found themselves in a nightmare. She needed to buy time. NCIS Tactical was 3 minutes out. Maybe less. Every second she kept cross-talking was another second closer to rescue. The evidence won't matter, Riley said. Even if you kill everyone here. Copies have already been sent to the FBI, the CIA, the Pentagon. Multiple redundancies. You can't stop it. Cross's jaw tightened. You're bluffing. M.I. Hawk's been planning this for months. He knew you'd come after him eventually. The moment the drive was recovered, automatic transmissions went out to every major law enforcement and intelligence agency. The story will be on every news network by morning. She was lying, partially. She didn't know if Hawk had set up redundancies, but it was plausible, and Cross couldn't afford to take the risk. Even if that's true, Cross said, I have resources, lawyers, political connections. Evidence can be challenged. Witnesses can be discredited. The legal system is just another battlefield, Ms. Morgan, and I've never lost a battle. There's a first time for everything. Cross laughed, genuine amusement. I like you, truly. It's rare to meet someone with genuine conviction. Most people are so easy to break, threaten their families, offer them money, appeal to their fear. But you're different. You've already lost everything, haven't you? Your career, your identity, your mentor. There's nothing left for me to threaten. Riley said nothing. He was wrong. There was something left. The people in this room. The colleagues she'd worked with for 3 years. The patients she'd sworn to protect. Still, Cross continued, everyone breaks eventually, even the strongest. His phone buzzed. He checked it. His expression darkened. It seems we have company. Federal tactical teams approaching from multiple directions. He looked at Riley. You were stalling. Obviously. Cross backhanded her. The blow snapped her head sideways. Stars exploded across her vision. She tasted blood. Initiate Protocol Omega. Cross ordered his contractors. We're accelerating the timeline. The contractors moved with practiced efficiency. They began herding hostages toward the center of the room. Others started placing charges along the walls. Explosives. Riley's blood went cold. You're going to blow up the hospital. Scorched earth, Ms. Morgan. If I can't win, no one wins. The evidence dies with everyone in this building, including you. You'll kill yourself too. Will I? Cross smiled. There's a helicopter on the roof. I'll be gone before the first charge detonates. But you, the hostages, the federal agents who are about to breach, you'll all be buried under 1,000,000 tons of rubble. Riley's mind raced. The charges. The hostages. The incoming tactical teams. She needed to do something. Anything. She looked around the room, spotted Dr. Ashford among the hostages. He'd come back to check on his patients. Wrong place, wrong time. But his eyes were clear. Focused. He hadn't given up. Riley caught his gaze. Held it. Tried to communicate without words. Ashford nodded fractionally, understanding. When the moment came, he'd be ready. Riley turned back to Cross. You know what the difference is between you and me. Enlighten me. You think money makes you powerful, but real power comes from people, relationships, trust. You've spent your whole life buying loyalty. I've spent mine earning it. Touching. And irrelevant. Is it? Riley raised her voice slightly. Not shouting, but loud enough for everyone to hear. Every person in this room knows me. They've worked with me. They've seen who I am. And when I tell them to move, they'll move. When I tell them to fight, they'll fight. Because they trust me. Can you say the same about your mercenaries? Cross's smile flickered, just for a moment. Doubt. That was all Riley needed. Now! She screamed. Ashford tackled the contractor nearest to him. Two nurses grabbed another wrestling for his weapon. The young doctor who'd been comforting the crying nurse threw himself at a third. Chaos erupted. Riley twisted using the momentum to swing her bound arms toward the contractor guarding her. The zip ties caught him across the face. He stumbled. She kicked his knee. He went down. She grabbed his fallen weapon with her bound hands, awkward but functional. Cross was running toward the emergency exit, the roof, the helicopter. Riley pursued. Her chest was on fire. Blood soaked through her bandages. Every breath felt like drowning, but she kept moving, kept fighting, because that's what Master Chief Reeves had taught her. You never quit. Not until the mission was complete. Not until everyone was safe. The emergency stairs. Up. 1 floor. 2. Her vision blurred. She was losing blood, losing consciousness. But the rage kept her going. She burst onto the roof. The helicopter was there, rotors spinning. Cross was climbing inside. Riley raised her weapon, fired. The shot went wide. Her hands were shaking. Too much blood loss. Too much damage. Cross turned, saw her, laughed. Impressive, Miss Morgan, but you're too late. The helicopter lifted off. No, not like this. Not after everything. Riley steadied herself. Took a breath. Remembered Reeves's training. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. She fired again. Once. Twice. 3 times. The third round hit the helicopter's tail rotor. Metal screamed. The aircraft spun. Cross's face transformed from triumph to terror as the helicopter spiraled downward. It crashed into the parking structure. Exploded. Riley collapsed to her knees. The weapon fell from her hands. The world tilted. Darkened. Footsteps on the roof. Voices. Hands grabbing her. Riley, stay with me. Bull's voice. He'd come. Of course he'd come. The charges, Riley whispered. Hospital. Explosives. We found them. Bomb squad's already working. Everyone's going to be okay. Cross. Dead. Saw the crash. No way anyone survived. Riley closed her eyes. Felt the tension drain from her body. It was over. Finally over. Angel. Bull's voice cracked. Don't you dare die on me. You hear me? Don't you dare. Not dying, Riley mumbled. Just resting. Like hell. Medic, I need a medic up here. More voices. More hands. Riley felt herself being lifted onto a stretcher. The pain was distant now. Fading. Everything was fading. But she could hear Bull's voice. Steady. Strong. Anchoring her to the world. You did it, Angel. You kept your promise. Reeves would be proud. I'm proud. Now fight. One more time. Fight. Riley fought, the way she'd always fought. For those who couldn't fight for themselves, for the promises she'd made to dying men, for the chance to keep making a difference one life at a time. The darkness tried to claim her. She pushed it back. Not yet. Not today. She had more promises to keep. The hospital room was quiet except for the steady beep of monitors. Riley had been unconscious for 3 days, 2 additional surgeries, massive blood transfusions. The doctor said it was a miracle she was still alive. Bull hadn't left her side. He sat in the same chair he'd occupied since they brought her down from the roof, eating when the nurses forced him, sleeping in brief intervals, watching her chest rise and fall with each breath. On the 4th day, her eyes opened. Bull. Her voice was barely a whisper, cracked, dry. He was on his feet instantly. Easy. Don't try to move. You've been out for a while. How long? 3 days. You coded twice on the operating table, scared the hell out of everyone. Riley processed this. 3 days. She tried to remember. The roof, the helicopter. Cross's face as it spiraled down. Then nothing. Cross. Dead. Confirmed. They found what was left of him in the wreckage. The hostages. All safe. Your distraction worked. The tactical teams breached 30 seconds after you went for the roof. Bomb squad disarmed the charges with 2 minutes to spare. Riley closed her eyes. Relief flooded through her. She'd done it. Kept her promise. Saved them. Hawk. Recovering. He's 3 rooms down. Been asking about you constantly. Sarah Chen, too, and Ashford. Half the hospital staff has been rotating through trying to see you. I'm not that popular. You are now. Bull's voice softened. Riley, you're all over the news. The story broke while you were unconscious. Everything. Your service record, the Navy Cross, what you did at San Diego Metro. They're calling you the Angel of San Diego. Riley groaned. I didn't want this. I know, but it's done. The world knows who you are, what you sacrificed, what you fought for. And Cross's organization, dismantled. The evidence on that drive combined with your testimony and the testimony of the survivors, it was enough. FBI arrested 47 people in the first 24 hours. Military contracts canceled. Congressional investigation launched. The whole rotten structure is collapsing. Riley stared at the ceiling, tried to feel triumph, satisfaction, justice, but all she felt was tired. Master Chief Reeves, she whispered, do you think he'd be proud? Bull was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was thick with emotion. Reeves loved you like a daughter. He saw something in you that nobody else did. And tonight, you proved him right. Every decision you made, every risk you took, it was exactly what he would have done. So yeah, Angel, he'd be proud. Prouder than you'll ever know. Tears slipped down Riley's cheeks. She didn't try to stop them. 3 years of grief, 3 years of guilt, 3 years of running it all came pouring out in that hospital room. Bull held her hand, said nothing, just let her cry. When the tears finally stopped, Riley felt something shift inside her. The weight she'd carried since Kabul, it wasn't gone, but it was lighter, bearable. Bull, she said, I need to see something. What? My service record, the file. I want to know what they wrote about Kabul. Bull hesitated. Are you sure? I've been afraid of that file for 3 years, afraid of what it said about me, about what happened. I need to face it. Bull nodded, pulled out his phone, scrolled, handed it to her. Riley read. The words blurred through her tears, but she forced herself to continue. The official report, the commendation, the Navy Cross citation, and at the end a personal note from Master Chief Reeves written the day before he died. Hospital Corpsman 2nd Class Riley Morgan is the finest combat medic I have ever served with. Her courage under fire is matched only by her compassion for the wounded. In 20 years of service, I have never seen anyone work harder, sacrifice more, or care deeper than this young woman. She will carry the weight of every life she couldn't save. That's the curse of the truly dedicated. But she will also carry the light of every life she did save. And that light will guide her long after the darkness fades. I am honored to have served alongside her. The Navy is lucky to have her, and I am proud to call her my angel." Riley's hands shook. She read the note again and again. Reeves had written this, hours before the ambush, hours before he died saving her. He'd known. Even then, he'd known who she was, what she would become. "He believed in me," Riley whispered. "He always did. I let him down. For 3 years I let him down." "No." Bull's voice was firm. "You survived. That's what he wanted. The rest, the healing, the hiding, that was just part of the journey. What matters is where you end up. And you ended up right here saving lives, keeping promises. That's not letting anyone down. That's becoming who you were always meant to be." The door opened. Dr. Chen entered, followed by Hawk in a wheelchair pushed by a nurse. Ashford came next, then Patricia, then a stream of colleagues Riley had worked with for 3 years. They filled the room, stood around her bed, looked at her with something Riley barely recognized: respect, gratitude, love. "We wanted to thank you," Chen said, "all of us, for what you did. I was just—" "Don't." Hawk cut her off. "Don't diminish it. You took a bullet for me. Twice. You fought off an army of contractors. You stopped a madman from blowing up a hospital. You saved everyone in this room. Let us thank you." Riley looked at their faces. Patricia, who'd been used as a human shield. Ashford, who'd lost his brother to Cross's corruption. Chen, who'd swallowed evidence and learned to fight. Hawk, who'd carried the burden of truth for months. They'd all sacrificed, all fought, all survived. "I couldn't have done it without you," Riley said. "Any of you. Bull taught me to fight. Chen showed me courage. Ashford inspired me to keep going. Patricia reminded me of what I was protecting, and Hawk gave me a reason to stop running." "We gave you opportunities," Bull said. "You did the rest." A nurse appeared in the doorway. "I'm sorry, but Ms. Morgan needs rest. Doctor's orders." The crowd began to disperse, but Chen lingered. "Riley, I have something for you." She reached into her pocket, pulled out a small object wrapped in cloth. "They recovered this from the wreckage. Cross was carrying it. We think he took it from Hawk's belongings at the hospital." Riley unwrapped the cloth. Her breath caught. A Navy SEAL trident. Tarnished, battle-worn. The pin on the back was bent like it had been ripped from a uniform. "That's Reeves's trident," Hawk said quietly. "He gave it to me in Kabul. Asked me to hold it for safekeeping. Said if anything happened to him, I should find a way to get it to you." Riley's fingers closed around the trident. The metal was cold, heavy, real. "He wanted me to have this. He wanted you to remember what you fought for, who you were, who you still are." Riley held the trident against her chest, felt the weight of it, the history, the honor. "Thank you," she whispered. "All of you, thank you." They left one by one. Bull was the last to go. "Get some sleep, Angel. Tomorrow's going to be a long day." "Why?" "Because the Senate wants to hear your testimony, and about 50 reporters want interviews, and the Navy's talking about awarding you a second Navy Cross." "I don't want another medal." "I know, but sometimes heroes don't get to choose how they're honored. Rest. I'll be back in the morning." He closed the door behind him. Riley lay in the darkness. Held Reeves's trident. Let the silence wrap around her. For the first time in 3 years, she didn't dream of Kabul. Didn't see Reeves's face as he died. Didn't hear the gunfire or smell the blood. She dreamed of sunlight, of open spaces, of a future she'd never let herself imagine. 2 weeks later, Riley stood before the Senate Armed Services Committee. The chamber was packed. Cameras, reporters, military brass, politicians. All watching. All waiting. She wore her Navy dress uniform for the first time since Kabul. The medals felt heavy on her chest. The Navy Cross, the Purple Heart, the Combat Action Ribbon. Symbols of who she'd been. Senator Williams, the committee chair, leaned into his microphone. "Ms. Morgan, thank you for being here today. Your testimony is crucial to understanding the full scope of Victor Cross's crimes." "I'm honored to serve, Senator." "Let's begin with the events of March 15th. Can you walk us through what happened at San Diego Metropolitan Hospital?" Riley took a breath, looked at the cameras, the faces, the weight of attention. Then she began to speak. She told them everything. Hawk's arrival, the contractors, the firefight in the basement, the hostage situation, Cross's appearance, the helicopter crash. She didn't embellish, didn't dramatize, just reported the facts the way she'd been trained. But facts couldn't capture everything. The fear, the pain, the moments of doubt when she'd wondered if she was strong enough, the memory of Reeves' voice guiding her through the darkness. When she finished, the chamber was silent. Senator Williams cleared his throat. "Ms. Morgan, you've described extraordinary acts of courage under impossible circumstances. Multiple witnesses have corroborated your account. But I have to ask, why did you hide your identity for 3 years? Why did you leave military service?" Riley paused. This was the question she'd been dreading, the one that required her to expose her deepest wounds. "Senator, when Master Chief Reeves died in my arms in Kabul, something inside me broke. I'd made him a promise to keep fighting, but I didn't know how anymore. The guilt of surviving when he didn't, the weight of all the people I couldn't save, it was crushing me. So I ran. I became someone else, someone who didn't have to carry that burden." And what changed? Lieutenant Commander Sullivan walked into my emergency room, and I realized that running hadn't erased who I was. It had just delayed the inevitable. The fight found me, and I had to choose keep hiding or finally become the person Reeves believed I could be. And you chose to fight. I chose to keep my promise. Senator Williams nodded slowly. "Ms. Morgan, on behalf of this committee and the American people, I want to thank you for your service. Your courage has exposed one of the largest corruption scandals in military history. Because of your actions, justice will be served. Soldiers who died because of faulty equipment will finally be honored. And the military-industrial complex will think twice before prioritizing profit over lives." Applause erupted through the chamber. Riley stood there uncomfortable with the attention but understanding its necessity. After the hearing, she was mobbed by reporters. Questions shouted from every direction. Microphones shoved in her face. "Ms. Morgan, how does it feel to be a national hero? What's next for you? Will you return to military service?" Bull appeared, cutting through the crowd like a battleship through rough seas. He grabbed Riley's arm, guided her toward a side exit. "Time to go, Angel." They escaped into a waiting SUV. The door closed. Silence. Riley exhaled. That was intense. "You did good. Reeves would have been proud." "You keep saying that, because it keeps being true." They drove in silence for a while. Riley watched the city pass by. San Diego, her home for 3 years, the place where she'd hidden, the place where she'd been reborn. "Bull, what do I do now?" "What do you want to do?" Riley thought about it. Really thought. The Navy had offered to reinstate her. Multiple private security firms had extended lucrative offers. Book publishers wanted her story. Hollywood wanted to make a movie. But none of that felt right. "I want to teach," she said finally. "Teach combat medical training. The techniques I learned in the field. The stuff that saved Hawk's life. That saved all those patients at San Diego Metro. Most civilian medical staff have never experienced real trauma situations. They freeze. They panic. I want to change that." Bull considered this. "You'd be good at it." "You think so?" "I know so. You've got a gift, Angel. Not just for fighting, for leading, for inspiring. People listen when you talk. They believe in you. That's rare." Riley looked out the window, saw the hospital approaching. San Diego Metro, the place where her past and present had collided. "I want to do it here, at the hospital. Create a program. Train nurses, doctors, paramedics. Anyone who might face a crisis situation. Have you talked to Ashford about this?" "Not yet, but I think he'd support it." The SUV stopped. Riley opened the door. "Bull, thank you for everything. For not giving up on me. For being there when I needed someone to believe in me. That's what family does, Angel. And whether you like it or not, you're family now." Riley hugged him, felt his strength, his warmth, the bond forged in fire. Then she walked into the hospital. Ashford was waiting. He'd known she was coming. Of course he had. Riley, how was the hearing? Exhausting, but necessary. I watched. You were magnificent. I was honest. That's different. Ashford smiled. Sometimes honesty is the most magnificent thing of all. Walk with me. They walked through the corridors. Staff members nodded as they passed. Some smiled, some whispered. But all of them looked at Riley with something new in their eyes. Recognition, respect, pride. I have a proposal, Ashford said. The hospital board met this morning. We discussed creating a new position, Director of Emergency Medical Training, someone to develop combat trauma protocols for civilian staff, someone with real-world experience. Riley's heart quickened. You're offering me the job? I'm offering you the opportunity to create the job, design the program, hire the staff, build something that could save thousands of lives. Why me? Because you're the only person qualified, and because it's what Reeves would have wanted. Riley stopped walking, looked at Ashford. You knew him. My brother served with him. Different unit, but they trained together. Thomas always said Reeves was the best leader he'd ever met. Said anyone trained by Reeves was worth their weight in gold. Ashford paused. You're Reeves's legacy, Riley. The best way to honor him is to pass on what he taught you. Riley thought about it. The program, the training, the lives she could impact. Not through violence, through preparation, through education, through making sure the next Riley Morgan wouldn't have to learn under fire. I'll do it, she said, on one condition. Name it. The program is named after him, the Reeves Combat Medical Training Center. Ashford smiled. I think that's perfect. 6 months later, Riley stood in front of her first graduating class. 40 medical professionals, nurses, doctors, paramedics, EMTs, all trained in combat trauma techniques, all prepared for situations they'd never imagined facing. Dr. Chen stood in the front row. She'd been Riley's first student, her most dedicated. In 6 months, she'd transformed from a terrified resident into a confident emergency physician. Bull stood at the back of the room, arms crossed, pride radiating from every line of his face. Hawk was there too, fully recovered, back on active duty. He'd taken leave specifically to attend this graduation, and on the wall behind Riley a photograph. Master Chief Daniel Reeves, Navy SEAL, mentor, friend, the man who'd believed in her when she didn't believe in herself. Before we conclude, Riley said, I want to share something with you, something that took me years to understand. The room fell silent. When I was 20 years old, I watched my mentor die in my arms. I'd done everything right, applied pressure, stopped the bleeding, called for extraction. But it wasn't enough. He died anyway. And for 3 years I carried that failure like a weight around my neck. I believed I wasn't good enough, that I'd never be good enough. She paused, met the eyes of her students. I was wrong. We don't save everyone. We can't. That's not the measure of who we are. The measure is whether we try, whether we show up when it matters, whether we give everything we have to every patient every time, regardless of the odds. Riley touched the trident pinned to her lapel, Reeves's trident. She wore it every day now. Master Chief Reeves taught me that true warriors don't fight for glory. They fight for those who can't fight for themselves. Every patient you treat is someone's mother, father, child, friend. Every life you save ripples outward in ways you'll never see. That's the real victory. Not medals, not recognition, just knowing that because you were there, because you were prepared, someone gets to go home to their family. She straightened, looked at the faces before her students, her legacy. You are all warriors now, not because you carry weapons, because you carry knowledge, skill, the willingness to act when others freeze. Go out there, save lives, make a difference, and remember, the fight isn't over when you're tired. It's over when everyone is safe. Applause filled the room. Her students rose to their feet, a standing ovation. After the ceremony, Riley found Bull in the corridor. "Good speech," he said. "Meant every word." "I know you did. That's why it worked." They walked together toward the hospital exit, the same corridors where Riley had fought for her life 6 months ago, the same walls that had seen so much blood, so much fear, so much courage. "What's next?" Bull asked. "Next class starts Monday, then the one after that, then the one after that. I've got work to do." "And after that," Riley smiled, "there's always more work. That's the point. The fight never ends. It just changes form." They reached the memorial wall, the photos of medical staff who'd served in combat. Riley's picture was there now. Hospital Corpsman 2nd Class Riley Morgan, Navy Cross recipient, founder of the Reeves Combat Medical Training Center. Beneath her photo, a quote she'd chosen herself. "Keep fighting for those who can't. That's the promise. That's the legacy. That's the only thing that matters." Bull stood beside her, silent, respectful. "He'd be proud," Bull said finally. "Reeves, he'd be so damn proud." "I hope so. I spent 3 years trying to forget him. Now I spend every day trying to honor him." "That's not forgetting. That's growing." Riley touched the photograph, traced the edges, felt the weight of memory and the lightness of purpose. She'd made a promise to a dying man in the sands of Kabul. Keep fighting for those who can't. For 3 years she'd broken that promise, hidden, run, pretended to be someone she wasn't. But promises don't expire. They wait, patient, eternal, until you're ready to keep them. Riley was ready now. She walked out of the hospital into the San Diego sunlight. The city stretched before her. Millions of people living their lives, unaware of the battles fought in their name, the sacrifices made to keep them safe. That was okay. Heroes didn't need recognition. They just needed purpose. And Riley Morgan, the Angel of San Diego, had finally found hers. She would keep fighting, keep teaching, keep saving lives one student at a time. Not because she had to, because she chose to. Because that's what real warriors did. The monitors would beep tomorrow, the wounded would arrive, the work would continue, and Riley would be there ready steady, the silent guardian who'd stopped running from her past and started building her future. Master Chief Daniel Reeves had given his life so she could live. She would spend the rest of hers making sure that sacrifice meant something. That was her promise, her mission, her truth. And she would keep it until her last breath, because some promises were worth more than life itself. The angel had finally come home.